Good afternoon. Hospitality is often dismissed as slow to change, traditional, always a step behind. But is that really true? Yes, real estate is inflexible by nature, yet our industry has been in motion for over 10,000 years, and the last 30, truly transformational. To mark the 30th anniversary of the Pandox Hotel Market Day, we chose to pause, not to dwell on history, but to use the past 3 decades as a mirror for the next 3. Our research took months and hundreds of pages. Summarizing it in 20 minutes, no small task. So if we missed a brand or a milestone, forgive us. This isn't about predicting the next big thing or betting on trends. It's about building a framework for what the future could look like, so you, as leaders, can decide how to shape it. It's about rebalancing power and finding the equilibrium that makes transformation sustainable. So let's rewind and rediscover how much hospitality has evolved in a single generation. In 1995, hospitality was emerging from a turbulent decade and poised for transformation. Demographic shifts, connectivity, and technology were about to reshape the European hotel landscape forever. Yet hospitality remained simple, and above all, human. Fast forward 30 years to 2025. Our industry is booming, contributing 11% of global GDP. More travelers, more brands, more technology. Over 60% of bookings now happen online. Hospitality has become a laboratory of change. We've experimented, transformed, innovated, and perhaps sometimes overcomplicated. But all this progress raises one question. In 2055, what will leadership in hospitality truly mean? To answer that, we must understand the forces driving change and where they originate. Change has never stopped knocking at our door. Technology raced ahead. Capital went global. Expectations soared. But in hospitality, true transformation doesn't come from outside. It actually starts within. Because every shock, every disruption only matters when it meets the 3 forces that truly drive our industry: the guests, the operators, brands, and the investors. Together they form what we call the Trinity of Hospitality. Each time the world shifts, the equilibrium between them shifts too. The Trinity drives change, not because of the forces acting upon it, but through the way the Trinity collectively responds to redefine the hotel ecosystem. Let's explore how this balance has evolved over the last 3 decades and what it means for the future. The story begins in 1995, a decade that laid the foundations of modern hospitality. Travel was opening. The Schengen Agreement had erased borders. Low-cost airlines connected Europe. The rise of OTAs and mobile technology was rewriting distribution. By the end of that decade, overnights in Europe had surged by 30%. Guests became connected, discovering new freedom, new tools, and with this came new expectations. They could compare, choose, review. For the first time, power began to shift toward the traveler. Operators, sensing this wave, drove for scale. Brands multiplied and segmented. Standardizations built trust, and the asset-light model emerged, freeing capital for growth. And as returns became tangible, investors entered the stage, turning hotels from trophy assets into yield-generating, financeable vehicles. RevPAR and discounted cash flow dominated the conversation. Then came the shocks, the dot-com crash and the 9/11, testing the young digital ecosystem. But this decade marked the industrialization of hospitality, and the Trinity reached equilibrium through scale, consistency, and efficiency. The next decade was defined by connectivity and globalization, but it also brought the global financial crisis, which triggered a decline in demand and a dramatic shift in how leisure travelers spent their discretionary income. During that same period, smartphones emerged, social media exploded, and with them came a new type of guest. Travelers became curators. They no longer wanted just a bed. They wanted a story, a sense of belonging, something worth sharing on their feed. Platforms like Airbnb and Instagram rewired desire around experience and authenticity. Operators responded by moving from standardization to storytelling, launching lifestyle and soft brands that integrated design, technology, and local relevance. And most importantly, rooftop bars became fashionable. Think Citizen M, Mama Shelter. Brands that understood emotion had become the new loyalty driver for millennials. Meanwhile, investors consolidated power. Blackstone acquired Hilton in 2007, and post-GFC distress in the sector allowed private equity to buy dozens of hotel portfolios. Transaction volumes peaked at 24 billion euros. Hospitality evolved into a serious investment class, focusing not just on RevPAR, but finally on GOPPR. And then came our present decade, defined by hybridization, ESG mandates, and digital acceleration. Overnight stays continue to surge, but supply can't keep up. In just 10 years, Airbnb listings grew from 1.5 million to 8.8 million. Everyone wants to cash in. Guests now demand more than comfort. They want crafted experiences that feel uniquely tailored to them. They no longer ask just where to stay, but why. Purpose, well-being, sustainability, and alignment with values have become part of every booking decision. Operators responded by creating tech-enabled ecosystems. Hospitality blended with living, co-working, wellness, and community. The age of co-everything, as I call it. Hotels evolved from places of transient stay into vibrant hubs, flexible and connected to their surroundings. Investors transformed too. Hotels moved from alternative to mainstream. Conscious capital emerged, with funds seeking both return and responsibility. ESG, SFDR, and sustainability entered the boardroom and the IHIF agenda. Then came the pandemic. For the first time, guests, operators, and capital were disrupted simultaneously, and everything froze. Yet when the rebound came, it was collective and unprecedented, accelerating transformation at an exponential pace. Luxury, pleasure, partnership, sustainability. You can even book your room directly on TikTok now. Today, AI and hybridization push our horizons even further. One thing is clear. The evolution of our sector has been shaped by the symbiotic relationship of the Trinity, and the most profound changes have happened when tension and collaboration among all three align, triggering innovation and transformation. So here we are, 30 years later. The guest is intentional, the operator adaptive, the investor conscious. Hospitality has proven it can evolve through any shock. But the next 30 years won't be about recovery. They'll be about reinvention. Among 150 forces and trends shaping our future, 3 stand out: ESG regulation and decarbonization. Sustainability is now an operating license. 4 in 5 travelers factor it into choices. And EU ESG funds have already amassed 2.2 trillion euros. Agentic AI, moving from back office to front stage. By next year, 75% of hotel groups will use AI to predict needs and orchestrate experiences, with chatbots already handling 70% of inquiries. Hybridization and hotelification of real estate. Historically monovalent, the hotel has to become polyvalent. As living, working, and travel converge, extended stay and branded residences are surging, while senior living adopts hotel-like services. Focusing on the trends we believe are most likely to endure and accelerate, we've developed 2 distinct future scenarios: They're not mutually exclusive. Both emerge at the intersection of powerful forces redefining hospitality, and each one could lead to very different realities for our sector. So let's begin with our first scenario, where AI and ESG converge into what we call responsible intelligence. In this model, sustainability and technology merge into a single operating logic driven by efficiency. For the guest, experiences are filtered through algorithms. Everything is optimized, consistent, but totally lacking emotion. For the operator, systems decide pricing, scheduling, even service responses. Humans are just supervisors of flows rather than experience creators. For the investor, AI dashboards link ESG targets directly to revenue. Perfect transparency, but differentiation is gone. Now let's travel together to Stockholm in August 2040. The city is facing an unprecedented heat wave with temperatures over 40 degrees and has activated emergency cooling protocols.
Energy consumption in Block B exceeds today's target. I reduced HVAC load by 12%. Guests in 214 and 216 have been notified.
Thanks. Just make sure they're comfortable.
Comfort level calibrated at 83%. Would you like to override the ESG threshold?
It is a world of flawless precision. The 1984 novel of George Orwell equivalent, where hospitality is governed by ethics coded into machines. Now, the second path, where AI meets hybridization to create living assets 3.0. If responsible intelligence is about control, this one is about adaptive spaces. The hotel itself becomes a living organism, constantly reshaping spaces in real time to match demand. For the operator, AI orchestrates everything: rooms, functions, even staffing. For the investor, it represents optimal utilization of real estate, delivering the highest possible return per square meter. Imagine for a second, Stockholm Central Station, 2050. A reboot of the Hyperloop transportation system is required due to a power surge. All trains are delayed until further notice.
Ticket data from streaming platforms synced, converting 20 long-stay apartments into hourly pods. Dynamic rate plus 36% over baseline. Partnering with 2 snack robot vendors.
Just make sure guests can still check in.
Lobby congestion mitigated. Traffic diversion to side entrance C.
Hospitality has turned spatially intelligent, perhaps smarter, but definitely less human. So after exploring these two possible futures, we need to ask ourselves, what piece of the puzzle is missing? For decades, hospitality leaders have repeated it at every conference on the planet. Take care of your employees, and they'll take care of your customers. But under the surface, a different story has unfolded. Tourism now accounts for 11% of global employment, yet in Europe, only 5 major labour regulations have been introduced over the past 3 decades. The quotes above speak to our values, but beneath them lies a long history of delayed reforms and chronic underinvestment in people. Industry leaders have been sounding the alarm for years. Uncompetitive pay, unsocial hours, and limited career progression are all undermining our ability to attract and retain young talent. The reality is, we didn't lose the workforce overnight. We actually stopped listening long before the crisis arrived. And now, as technology accelerates, the same pattern risks repeating itself, only faster. Today, every CEO agrees AI should empower people, not replace them. But once again, the reality beneath the surface tells a very different story. 78% of hotel chains already use AI, yet only 7% have a comprehensive company-wide AI strategy due to fragmented systems, scarce expertise, and unclear ROI leading to tactical fixes over long-term plans. Without strategic direction, automation risks amplifying the very issue we've failed to solve, replacing empathy with efficiency, as we have demonstrated before. Technology should be a catalyst to bring people back to the center, not a new force pushing them aside. As we've seen, the cracks have been visible for years, and the tide is still rising. By 2055, Europe's labour cost escalation, demographic pressures and restrictive migration policies will only deepen its imbalance. Demand will continue to outpace staffing, with a potential gap of 1.5 million jobs by 2055, 1.5 times the population of the municipality of Stockholm. Competition for talent stretches across every sector, and the middle class, the very core of travel, is tripling its spending power. If nothing changes, this imbalance becomes structural and irreversible. But for once, everything aligns in our favour. Regulators are finally recognising social impact. ESG frameworks now reward companies that invest in people. Technology is no longer a constraint. It's a catalyst to redefine how we leverage human capital. This is why the employee should be at the heart of the Trinity, morphing from task executor to a co-creator of value. Hospitality has always adapted to crisis, but this time we can lead by proving that growth, innovation, and empathy are not opposites, but all part of the same equation. The time to act is now. So how do we turn this moment of alignment into lasting change? By redesigning innovation around the people who make hospitality work. We call this workers-powered innovation, a framework built to tackle 3 structural challenges: salary competitiveness, working conditions, and demographics and mobility. We've identified 14 initiatives which together aim to transform hospitality jobs into sustainable long-term careers, unlock resilience, and ultimately value for the Trinity. Closing the wage gap is the most urgent step. So we suggested destination pay accords to align wages with local standards, a Hotel Workforce Innovation Fund. Think of it as an FF&E reserve, but in people, reinvesting productivity gains into staff accommodation and training. Even a tokenized staff equity plan sharing performance with employees. For mobility, skills passports and season-ready mobility rails make careers more fluid. For working conditions, AI compacts and staff housing programs rebuild quality of life while boosting productivity. Even a loyalty program not for the guests but for the employees, where they earn points for seasonal mobility or service quality and can redeem them to develop themselves or cover some of their living costs. Each initiative is designed to make the workforce not a cost centre, but a co-investor in hospitality's future. Because when people and profit move in the same direction, everyone wins. And when hotels invest in their people, the impact cascades across the entire ecosystem. For guests, it means personalised experiences delivered by a well-trained and motivated team elevating the human connection. The reality is you feel valued, you care more. For operators, it brings a larger and stable talent pool, ready for creativity and innovation. A competitive advantage that strengthens brand reputation. And for investors, it reduces governance risk, delivers sustainable performance, and attracts premium valuations. This is how the human renaissance begins, not through big statements or technology alone, but through a shared commitment to rebuild the foundations of hospitality around people. Let's remember why we began this research, to understand how hospitality has evolved and how it will keep evolving through new segments, formats, and experiences. The past 3 decades proved 2 things: the agility of the Trinity and the resilience of our industry in a world of constant disruption. Despite challenges ahead, we can embrace the next 30 years with confidence and optimism. Guests now choose accommodation with or without service. Those who choose with expect more than ever. Hotels that master service, authentic, human, consistent, will win tomorrow's loyalty battle. This connects to the 3 forces shaping our future: AI, ESG, and hybridization. These will redefine hospitality, but only if we rediscover our humanity. Our collective success will depend on bold leadership that puts employees at the heart of the Trinity, both as co-author and co-investor, reinvesting technological gains into the human touch that makes hospitality so unique. The next evolution in hospitality won't be defined by how we build or brand, but how we care. That's how we rebalance power and enable truly sustainable transformation. Thank you, and happy 30th anniversary to Pandox.